Alright. Oh, god damn it. That fucked it up. Son of a bitch. Hey, everyone.
Rewind.
Shut up, Bill. Anyway.
What a train wreck.
Yeah, see, Bill actually shut up. Hey, someone listens to me. It's a miracle. Hey, welcome to the Star Wars Legends podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy from Stupid Chainsaw Productions. My co-host here, Dylan, with his awful hairpiece.
John Tuttle. I
missing
just got it cut, too.
I know, you cut the hair, you cut the toupee. That's a bad thing. That doesn't grow back. Should get some haircuts. Next, we have Bill returning with what we discovered is not a shirt, but his skin is now gray and leathery. Next, we got Jordan, a.k.a. Dark Snovia.
Hello.
Known as the Riddler of the EU, with his complex questions that he makes us answer every week. And we got two new people with us today. We got J Rocks. How's it going, J Rocks?
Hey, what's up, man?
And we got our first woman on here. We got Reader 1717. How you doing, Cammy?
Good, guys. What's up? Thanks for asking me to come on the show. Appreciate it.
It's an honor. It's about time, by the way.
And again, for all the people, who've been saying us in the expanded universe movements are, bigoted and we're racist and sexist and all these things, I mean, this podcast is really proving just how diverse and wonderful we are. Because now, for the first time ever on this podcast, we have a Canadian on the show.
There you go.
You are cancer, Dylan. And our new show sponsor, Samuel Adams, for making the summer party pack.
Oh no, Comcast is going to get mad and they're going to cut out our connection again.
Dude, and so will Metro PCS, our other show sponsor. Okay, let's begin here. We're going to go right to left like a manga here. So, Reader, how'd you get into the EU?
Well, actually, I got into it because of you guys, Jeremy. Actually, you're the one who I started watching your videos, and then Matt, I started watching his videos, and then I just got hooked on the novels. So I haven't had too much experience with as many of the comics, except for what they did recently with Marvel. But it's really the books is where my heart is with the EU.
That's awesome. That's the correct answer, by the way. And J-Rocks, how'd you get into the EU?
Well, like after the movie came out, I started typing Star Wars on the YouTube, and I started watching your guys' chats. And I was like, oh, I think they make comics, and I think they started reprinting the Epic Collection for Marvel. They started reprinting the Dark Horse stuff. So I started buying it to I know there's a lot of characters that don't show up in the movies. So I kind of started buying some of those to get into the bigger universe of Star Wars and everything else.
Excellent. There we go. See, we got diverse. We got novels. We got comics here. What can I say? Let's get into the topics here. And this is the part where I check out because I didn't read any news today, and I really should have instead of not doing anything.
It's not really news today. It's news from the last time we recorded this.
Okay, shut up. Shut up. Stop contradicting me. Why do you always do this, Dylan?
It's part of our charm.
You like to think of me as some sort of honky devil, don't you?
No. When have you ever seen a show where there's two people who always agree with each other and are buddies that it's actually good? No, it's always two people who are different and getting on each other's nerves, and that's what everyone loves. That's what we do.
That was to hear all sides of the argument.
Anyway.
All right. Dylan,
we have tons of topics. I mean, we have tons of topics. Basically, if you haven't heard, James Cameron came out and saying some pretty interesting things about Star Wars and The Force Awakens and what Disney has done with it. If this was an actual, something that we did that we actually prepared for, I would probably have it up by now. But now that I'm seeing this, I realize I don't even know where that is, so I got to look for it. Bill,
Just
you've
go
seen
to
it,
the-
right?
I've seen it. I haven't read it because actually it's by itself it's quite boring because all he's saying is what we've all been saying all along. Disney's Star Wars doesn't really equal up to the EU. But what really find interesting is that unlike previous comments that come out like this, people are actually agreeing with it, which is a big change from what we've seen in the past.
Now, do you think this is because it's James Cameron?
It's absolutely because it's James Cameron. There's not too many people that can go toe to toe with Disney on level of public opinion.
Okay. Well, anything else before I jump into my filthy Judasness that is my life?
Fantasy Flight released the in-depth analysis of the two Wave 4 expansions. The Imperial Interdictor one yesterday, and then the Mon Calamari Liberty Cruiser today. So now we know exactly all the upgrade cards and stuff we're getting the new expansions, which is awesome. When those expansions comes out, your guess is as good as mine with Fantasy Flight, because they could not be any more vague.
Okay, real quick, that's Armada, right?
Yeah.
Dylan, you're an Armada aficionado, correct? You're like ultimate Armada player in our Star Wars reviewers group.
Sure.
So who do you play with?
Haha, very funny.
The correct answer would be John Sadler, because you are John Sadler. I
am not the filthy casual.
I like to think you put a red you know, you call him a filthy casual as you like destroy him. There's a reason he no longer watches my videos. Oh wait, you do, Dylan.
Give it a couple more weeks, John Sadler will be begging to come back to us. Then give it another week, he'll start calling us names again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well,
he
John
hasn't watched
Sadler,
my videos.
he's still in the he's still in reviewers at least, and he has a sock account somewhere in the Alliance.
Who knows? Who knows where the real John Sadler went? Oh wait, he's right here.
Haha, very funny.
Sorry, I've landmined this joke for the episode.
All right, what
Reminds
else
me.
do we have to talk about?
Speaking of landmines, let's talk about Star Wars Battlefront real quick. So they released the new Bespin map.
I see what
pack.
you did there.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Good you saw that.
He could have went better if he
Ruined the transition.
no minds.
So we got two new heroes in this pack. We got the hero we've wanted. You know, unlike last time. We got Lando. And I've been wanting Lando since Battlefront 2. And you know what happened when I played the game on Sunday? I didn't get to play as Lando. Of course. I mean, what a stunner. You know, the one character I've wanted to play since, 2005. I didn't get to play as. But I got to play as the other hero, Dengar. And let me tell you, he sucks. He deals a lot of damage, but naturally, because of all of these characters are so broken, these DLC characters can deal a lot of damage, but you get shot a few times, you're dead. What a waste. Might as well stick to being the Emperor. Which reminds me, the Emperor's guards are now actually the, they're no longer the red shock troopers, they're actually Imperial guards now, with the same guns. They just changed the skins on them. I played the new game mode, which is like a sabotage thing. You set these 3 bombs like the rebels, and then if they all blow up, you have to evacuate and hold this area for for a period of time, and then escape.
Right.
It's all right. It's nothing special. It's difficult, but hey, that's a test of having good gameplay. Also, they added a new ship, the little Bespin pod ship that you see in Empire Strikes Back. That's fun to fly. flies really slow, but actually can deal a lot of damage if you use it correctly. It also has a hammer. And also they added a couple new guns that I haven't used yet because I haven't unlocked them. But other than that, it's about the same. Although the whole thing was they're using EU material for this.
Which is what we talked about last time.
Bill, what was it? I don't remember off the top of my head. Where did they pull it from?
It was from Young Jedi Knights. It was Biolab from Bespin.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Bespin map. It's all right. I'll have updates on that next episode when hopefully I get to play as Lando.
Because with EA, it's all in the DLC. As their motto says, it's in the DLC.
All right. Do we have any more topics?
Well, there's we still haven't seen the fan poll winner from Hasbro's Black Series last year, Revan.
Oh yeah.
It's been a year and it still hasn't hit the shelves.
I think that's ridiculous.
It is.
You're about to get Dark Snovia in full-on rant mode right now.
Oh, I was full on rant mode a week ago.
It's not as bad because they also haven't released Sabine, the other character from the pool that they... If they had released her and not Revan, things would be looking really suspicious.
True.
Especially with the whole shenanigans they pulled with the second place thing.
What's
And the
really
shenanigans
ridiculous?
Yeah.
She looks better in her in the action figure form than she does in the actual series.
It does.
Well, that's...
Well, anything
I think it's
looks
because
better
they
than
changed
that.
their costume style.
Can we be honest? The Ugly Martians look better than that.
But they changed their costume style. Literally, they changed their costume style because Dave Filoni hates cosplayers.
Yes. He said that. He said he likes screwing with cosplayers, so he keeps changing the outfits.
Dave Filoni's a dick.
Mhm.
Yes.
Dave Filoni is just like, why can't I hold all these continuity errors?
I thought we agreed to know what continuity meant.
For those listening, these are all jokes we've said in the pre-show, but in order to milk them, I'm saying them in the actual show, so that more than 6
Yelled
people...
at you for numerous times.
So instead of 6 people hearing the joke, it's 9 people hearing them. Like how I said, this would be the first podcast where we have more people on the podcast than who'd actually watch it.
There's only 8 people, because there's only 2 people watching.
Right.
Let's see. Jesus, what a nightmare. Google Plus sucks. So I'm trying to get people to watch this, and they're all having difficulty. That's why we have so few
Amen.
viewers today. Is because it's fucking up on the other end. So Google Plus suck.
Mm-hmm.
What about you guys hear about the new Star Wars game they're gonna make with campaign mode?
What's
There.
up? Oh, are you gonna talk about the Legos, Dylan?
No, they made another. I know they made some type of Star Wars. They're making one, but they say they're gonna have campaign on it.
You mean the fan-made Battlefront 3?
Yeah.
Oh, that I forgot about that. We haven't talked about that in about 5 episodes, I think.
I know. That happens when we actually put out episodes weekly.
Dylan, you know what? I don't know why you decided to be my secretary, but this is terrible.
I know. We have nothing to talk about now.
Yeah, well, this was going to be live Q&A too, but I forgot to turn on the Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
And we decided to roll with it anyway.
yeah, well, have we gotten any questions yet? Well, actually, we'll open the floor now to questions while we talk about what we're reading. Who wants to go first? Actually, play random. J-Rox goes first because he's on the left.
Okay, I started reading this. It's like omnibus of Star Wars. It starts off with episode 1. So the first few issues, I'm barely in the beginning. It's basically what's on the Phantom Menace, I guess.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. You're reading
Right, that's what I said.
the worst.
I was like, I don't know if it's gonna change. I assume it's gonna change as you go on. It's not gonna be exactly the same. So hopefully it's better.
What that was a cash grab. First of all, when Phantom Menace hit, and I remember this at the age of 4, it was almost as bad as Force Awakens, but there was more reading material for it. There was so much Phantom Menace garbage. Hell, there in Wild Space Omnibus 2, it collects these comics, pod racing comics, that were supposed to be in fruit snack packages.
What?
Yes,
What?
that's how crazy it got with EU material, and it's all canon. All that stuff that's canon with not only the movie but also the novelization of the Phantom Menace as well, both the young adult novelization and the comic adaptation.
Now, how is is there a novel of Phantom Menace?
Yes, Terry Brooks wrote it. It's really good.
Terry Brooks
Yeah,
is an amazing author. My favorite living author. He did an amazing job.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping here. I barely started it, but I was like, when I noticed it was the same story, I was like, I just hope it could be the same story but written better. So I was like, hopefully it's still good.
They're awful. The Phantom Menace stories are awful, but don't worry, just plunge through it or skip it. There's really good stories in that omnibus. I'm just gonna say that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm gonna read through the whole thing because I want to read through the whole collection. I think it's like 80 issues. Like it's like 5 of these.
Okay. So who's next? Bill. Oh, Bill is officially a person who can't read. Bill was reading the same thing he was talking about a couple episodes ago.
Bill is working 60-hour work weeks plus running several alliance pages.
Let Dylan run that. He likes being everyone's secretary.
I'll tell you what I did do. I did buy a first edition hardcover Darth Bane and
Rats. Those are expensive.
and 2 Star Wars scrapbooks from the Scholastic's in the 1990s.
Do they have the stickers in them?
Let me see. I don't think so. I don't think that's kind of scrapbook. No, these do not have stickers in them.
Okay. Because when you get the ones with the stickers or the tattoos, kids like me played with those stickers and tattoos.
Of course you did.
That's what they were meant for. We weren't thinking of collecting long ways down the road.
No, but sometimes they have those ones where you put like certain coupons and stuff out, and you mail them, and you get like comics or extra stuff, and you mail it in.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a question.
We have a question. Holy shit. We gotta pause the reading. What's going on?
Is Aboleth a Lovecraftian creature?
Oh.
That's like asking, does Dave Filoni care about continuity?
No.
Does J.J. Abrams have original ideas for movies? I mean,
No.
Yeah,
these are
actually, Super 8 was
He
sort
totally
of
does. Everything he does has never been done before.
Yeah, he's the next Steven Spielberg. Actually, no, that's M. Night Shyamalan. My bad. My bad. I'm sorry. I got the directors mixed up. And Roland Emmerich is a patriot. I mean, he's only destroyed the White House twice, almost 3 times. Don't see Independence Day resurgence. It's sucked.
or will more than 5 people actually watch this podcast? Again, we don't know. These are all very great questions.
I even in the alliance shared in the alliance, so we're up to 5 people, which is amazing. But still, that's 5,000 members almost now.
All right, let's go back to the reading since Bill hasn't read anything except for Kenobi's Blade. He read 10 pages of that since the last time. That's a young adult novel. Bill, I don't envy you in your work schedule at all.
Neither do I.
All right, reader, what are you reading?
Oh my God, I'm kind of like Bill. I think I'm gonna be put in the doghouse like Bill. I haven't been reading as much as I would like to. I haven't finished the Dark Pages book yet. I haven't finished that yet, but it's pretty amazing. It makes you think differently about the Phantom Menace.
Yeah. You know what you should do when you finish that? Watch The Phantom Menace again.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I kind of like all the Sith stuff. I like the dark side stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you guys have any other recommendations for what I should be reading,
Oh God, if you want some Sith novels,
yeah,
everyone's gonna say the Darth Bane trilogy. So let's just
of
put
course. I started with that one. That was the first one I read.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I have Revan and what else? I don't know. I got a few books there I haven't gotten to just yet.
See if this up there. I'm looking right now. I don't know. Honestly, Legacy of the Force. The
Oh, yeah?
Well, the rise and fall of Darth Titus, technically.
Nice.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but you know, there's a lot of
Doesn't
prerequisite
focus
reading
on
to
the
get.
Sith, though. We could go Lost Tribe and Sith.
But that's Darth Bane trilogy would be there. Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader.
Oh,
I-
yeah.
That's a good one, I hear.
Also, James Luceno, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Anything written by James Luceno.
He does a lot of this stuff to do with the dark side, does he?
He has a lot to do with fixing things that George Lucas wrote wrong.
Really?
That
He does it so well. Like he
Duke
wrote
Carpenter.
Labyrinth of Evil, which is the sort of the Darth Plagueis for Revenge of the Sith. It sets everything up for that.
Oh, nice.
He wrote Cloak of Deception, which is the rise of the Trade Federation. If I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
That was his first book.
he wrote the Unifying Force, which tied up pretty much all of the loose plot lines and finished New Jedi Order.
He also wrote, what was it, The Edge of Victory duology?
Right. That was kind of at the beginning. It was a lot of more setup stuff than.
Which is good.
Yeah,
He
there's,
wrote
like,
Millennium
there's so
Falcon.
much out there. There's so much out there to read, and sometimes when you're new to it, like you want to read a lot, but you kind of want to read it in the order that it's supposed to be read in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I started
A
here
lot
from
of people do that, but one of the great things about Star Wars is you can pretty much pick it up anywhere. The books pretty much are standalone novels by themselves.
Oh, well,
Unless they're part of a
it's
larger series.
specific series.
I mean, Jeremy, you picked up Legacy of the Force Betrayal, and you knew exactly what was going on, right?
For the most part, yeah. But it made me want to read more, so I read Vector Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I've read the beginning of every event except for Fate of the Jedi.
Fate of the Jedi is pretty good so far. Or I'll get into that when it gets to me.
Well, reader, is that all you've read?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Dylan, I'm really curious about you. You and your road to Crucible, that's almost complete.
I got off work. I had like 3 chapters left of Omen, so I finished that, and then I looked at the clock and we're like, okay, we're like 30 minutes away from recording, so I won't be able to start this. But I finished Omen, so I'm on Fate of the Jedi Abyss by Troy Denning. I am really loving this series so far. There's not a lot I can say because a lot of it is spoilers.
Yeah, so don't.
Basically, everyone dies. Nothing is solved. Actually, the series completely ends. The entire galaxy blows up in the second book, and then the other 7 books are just like blank pieces of paper.
So R2 never talks to the Keeper of the Wells?
Huh?
So R2 never gets around to talking to the Keeper of the Wells?
No.
Oh, damn. Where the hell did we get the script for episode 4?
All right, let's move on to Dark Snovia. Dark Snovia, is Metro PCS being a piece of shit again? Our show sponsor, by the way.
They're being a great sponsor.
Oh, we got another question by the same guy, Nexus Prime.
What did he say?
Could there be a connection between the Vongs getting exiled and the Rakta losing the ability to use the Force?
Yeah. It's probably the same technique.
Yeah,
Well-
we talked about this, I think, before.
Yeah, we talked about this. I think Bill was on the episode too. We talked very briefly about this, and
Was this when I was falling asleep almost? 'Cause I don't remember it.
falling
Right.
asleep. It's like 2 in the
So it's
morning where you were.
It's extremely different from right now when you're also, completely
He's
awake.
wearing this gray skin right now.
But yeah,
Oh my God, Bill! Jesus Christ, that looked it looked like agony right there.
the Ricotta, there's a lot about the Ricotta we don't know, especially their eventual fall, how it happened, and what their aftermath is, because we kind of know that they're still around, but extremely rare and in the unknown regions, kind of. And the Vong are from another galaxy, and actually, if you've read the final prophecy and the unifying force of the New Jedi Order, it goes a lot into the history of the Vong, and they're kind of not going into spoilers here, but they're definitely from another galaxy. There definitely was an event that caused them to leave the Force, which the reasons, unless there's something we really don't know about the Ricotta, are reasons I don't think that the Ricotta would also have fallen. I think it's more of just coincidence and two things kind of happening, and people are drawing conclusions. But my read on after finishing New Jedi Order is no, but it's possible because there's just so much about the Ricotta we don't know.
What do you
Okay.
find the most interesting faculty to be?
The most interesting what?
Faculty, like between the Empire, the Jedi, the Republic, Rebels.
Most interesting.
Oh Jesus, J-Rox, you're gonna replace Dark Snovia in tough questions.
Oh,
Oh, Dark Snovia's taking that as a challenge.
sounds like a challenge.
Oh God, my favorite organization, Black Sun. Black Sun right there. We gotta get that Prince Zeezer in there. That dude's a pimp. All right. He's
Imperial
getting
Knights.
pheromones against all the ladies.
Imperial Knights. Yeah.
You
Because we still don't know about how.
Dylan.
Are we going to get into the legacy discussion again?
So the Imperial Knights are boring. They
Well,
are.
We
They're
don't
just
know anything about them.
They're grumpy Jedi. They're grumpy neutral Jedi.
They're not neutral. They're not grumpy. They serve their own order. The order just happens to
Every
be the
one of
Emperor.
them in Legacy 1, besides
The rebellious Jedi.
Princess Fell, was
You
just
still haven't finished Legacy 1.
so bad. I don't wanna. It's
I at least
so
have finished
hard.
Invasion. I at least finished Invasion.
Well, you
can
need to
finish.
for your Road to Crucible. I don't
You
need to
can-
finish Legacy and to finish my Road to Crucible. All right.
Because it's right after Crucible, so you need to know what happens after. So you can... In my opinion, the testament to the Road to Crucible is not only getting all the way to the timeline, but knowing everything that happens so you can speculate what happened in the 90 years in between. But not knowing the end goal diminishes your ability to do that because you don't know all the story lines that they've
I know
woven in.
enough of the storylines. I've read the majority of Legacy.
But you
I
didn't
read
finish
all
the
Legacy,
series.
so- What? Are you talking crap, Dylan? Yeah,
You
exactly.
You
That's
didn't
what
get to the best part of it, which was the ending. And not because it was the ending. It was a great finale.
Yeah, it was war, like every fucking...
It was the best war miniseries that Dark Horse ever did, which I know is not saying much.
Force War was pretty good. I don't know. Alright. Dark Snovia, what do you read? For banned Dylan from the show.
Well, there's too many things I could list, but I'm still reading The Crystal Star for my Star Wars reading. I'm also reading Rogue Squadron, the first book of the X-Wing series. Game
Have
of
you read-
Thrones, which is... What?
Have you read the X-Wing Rogue Squadron comics?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh yeah, and you don't buy anything with a Legends banner on it.
I just got those, but I haven't read them either. That one looks good. That's my favorite part is the Rebels. With the pilots and all that, the firefighters, the flame fighters.
You should watch my reviews on the first 6 volumes of that. They're up on my channel. You can get a good feel for that series. Even though I'm gonna probably remake them next year. Spoilers.
Yeah, I got the 3 books like this, but I think I'm gonna replace them with those epic collections because they're a little.
Unfortunately,
What are you gonna say, Darcy?
unfortunately for the Rogue Squadron comics, I may have to wait until Marvel reprints the entire series under the Epic Collection.
They got the first half of it out already.
Yeah. The first
Yes,
one's out and the
New
next one
Republic
comes out in a few
Volume
months.
Man,
The
that
second one
show
comes out in
sucks.
The second one comes out in like 3 months.
Dark Snovia does not like buying Legends banner stuff. It upsets him.
No, I do not.
And we've had this discussion before, but we've had this discussion off screen, off camera.
There's little but more effective thing than we can do than to buy books new, and that really means buying with Legends banners on it, despite how much we don't care for that. But if we want to make an impact on Disney, it's to buy the books.
No, I bought a Legends banner book the other day. The other 2 books I bought just happened to not have Legends banner on them. But that's spoiling my next haul.
It's actually in my opinion, or kind of obviously, it's a good sign seeing Legends bannered books, because that means that the bookshelf at one point had a non-Legends banner book in it. Someone bought it, and then there's like, oh, people are buying these books, we need more, so then they got the Legends. It's basically a book that's been published in the last 2 years, meaning people have bought it within the last 2 years. So that and the big one, which is if we have a bunch of people in the movement who aren't supporting the Legends banner, they do decide to continue the expanded universe, and it does get continued. Sword of the Jedi comes out with a big Legends banner on it, and no one buys it because no one's buying the Legends banner. It would basically
happen again.
It would basically destroy everything that we've worked for, because okay, we gave you your chance, we gave you your novel, no one bought it, so we're not going to do it anymore because it doesn't make money like you said it would. In my opinion, the movement would be dead if that happened. Not to be the Debbie Downer.
No, you're absolutely right.
Downer. He gets down on me when I drink. Samuel Adams, show sponsor. Send me free beer, please.
By the way, for those of you who don't know, the history of this podcast is Jeremy just wanted a podcast so that he could get free beer. This was the only reason we did this podcast. The first 13 episodes has just been filler to establish our credibility and to get guest hosts on here, just so we can seem like a podcast. But yes, this has been the end goal the whole time. None of this at all matters. Jeremy just wants beer.
I need more Samuel Adams.
He's not the only one who has a beer. I have one too.
Some whiskey.
All right.
Where were we?
Dark Snowy was talking about what he was reading.
We went totally off track.
Yeah.
Nexus Prime has yet another question.
Let's see.
Dark Snowy finishes what he's reading. Why am I holding a brush? God, I have
That's
a
a good
I have
question.
to point with something. I just grab whatever, but I don't know why there was a brush sitting on my PlayStation 4. I genuinely don't have a clue.
You were dusting it off. Cleaning it up.
But that's supposed to be for the shower. I don't know why it's out here. Alright, so, Dark Snowy, finish up what you were talking about, your reading, and then we'll get to the question. And then we'll get to what
for my non-Star Wars related stuff, I was about to say I'm reading Game of Thrones, and I don't know if you've seen this in one of my hauls, but I'm reading this, Terminator Infiltrator.
Oh, jumping into that
Which,
Terminator.
At the time it was published, Terminator 3 wasn't even a thing, so you guess you could consider it the uncanon sequel to Terminator 2, or not uncanon, the first sequel that was conceived. It's better than the actual movie, which which isn't really saying much because anything's better than Terminator 3, Salvation, and Genesis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bill has a special hard-on for Genesis for no reason.
It tied everything together.
It did not tie anything together. It made it more confusing.
No, it didn't.
It had a bunch of horrible
It explained why all the different timelines were and fixed it back into the one main timeline.
Prometheus did a better job of explaining it, like explaining and tying everything together.
That is true. Prometheus had better acting by far.
Even the Force Awakens
Seriously,
did a
when
better
this
job of
podcast is
actually
over,
explaining the universe.
I'll give you a link that explains the timeline perfectly. It makes sense once you watch that video.
Is it
For what,
right?
Prometheus?
Because Genesis explained it to me.
Bill.
How did we get to Terminator Genesis?
You know how people say they need to pray the gay away? We need to pray Terminator Genesis away. I'll be praying for you. I'm sorry, that was really offensive too.
I'm reading way too many books.
Right.
I think I need to slow down my reading and just stick to one or two books at a time.
Dark Snowy, you need to read some of the Aliens books, so that way we can actually talk about things.
Or you can just finish the Rogue Squadron series so we can talk about that. How are you liking Rogue Squadron 1, by the way?
It's really good. It's really good so far. It makes me regret rushing to get to New Jedi Order, honestly. Give me a chance to get to know the characters better.
Right. Yeah, there's a few from there that show up.
Can't really talk about it more until I've actually read it fully.
Yeah.
But I have to resist reading it because the Crystal Star, unfortunately, is something I have to finish. Otherwise,
Right.
if I get to my 29th episode, I'll have no choice but to read the Crystal Star. That's a harsh punishment I don't wish on anybody.
All right.
It's bad enough my brother has to read it.
Okay. Let's get to some questions real quick before we get to what I'm reading. Nexus Prime asks, could it be that the dark side can turn into the anti-force from Waru's universe? Like some kind of transition? I don't know.
Who the hell knows?
Who the fuck knows? When it comes to Waru, we only know that he should be our president. You know?
Yes.
Right.
Oh yeah, that reminds me, our campaign sponsorship for Waru.
Waru for president. Mm-hmm.
He'll build a wall around the new cabin.
And make Bob Iger pay for it.
Yes.
He and Dave Filoni have quote-unquote become friends. Unfortunately, he did fire Matt Rukins from being his campaign sponsor.
Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate, but you know, with all that
That's
stuff
unfortunate.
about him, you know, deleting emails from Eric Eller, you know.
Sweet Jesus, I knew you would find something, Dylan. All right. Okay, Frank Miller's Evil Hat has finally sent us something. I didn't know we were having a live stream. One of the things I dislike about the new canon is it's not unique. Oh yeah. All right, that segues into my reading, which I'm reading New Republic Bloodline right now. Bloodlines. It is so boring. My God. I can't actually read the book. I had to get the audiobook. And it's just still boring. I'll be running for like a couple miles on my treadmill. And I'll be
And then
listening.
you'll just start vomiting because it's so bad.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not Chuck Wendig bad. There's no like ankle biter brigade or space diapers or anything like so fucking stupid like that. But it's just terrible. I mean, this whole Claudia Gray is the greatest things in sliced bread business. It's just, it's not there for me. I'm really not liking this at all. I think it's how not to write Star Wars politics. It reminds me of how in The Phantom Menace, when it gets to the politics, you fall asleep, and then you wake up and realize nothing happened.
And you wake up and they're on Naboo for some reason.
Yeah, it's like that. It's not like how James Luceno writes politics, which is how you should write space politics. But no, we got to have populists and centrists. You know, like Republicans and Democrats.
What do you guys think? Have you guys read the Knights of the Old Republic?
What about Knights of the Old Republic?
What do you guys think about that series?
That's good. That's a good series.
Yeah, honestly, I've been reading. I was just finished reading the first 3 volumes, and I really enjoyed it. I thought that was real good.
Yeah, you need
I
to
like the whole backstory on the Arcane.
stick with that, and don't worry about the Vector storyline. Don't read the tie-ins. It's bad. It's such a bad event. Don't read.
Oh, that's right. There's still questions from last week we need to answer.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end. But
Frank
also,
Miller's got another one.
yeah, let me finish what else I'm reading, because I only have one more thing left. I'm reading the Marvel Comics, the original Marvel Comics. I am on the Doom World storyline, which is issues 11 through, I think, 14 or 15. Basically, Crimson Jack is back, the Flash Gordon ripoff pirate who stole all of Han Solo's money he got from Princess Leia at the end of A New Hope. And he's like, okay, Han Solo, since you don't have money, you're going to die. And don't worry, I've captured Princess Leia. And so Han Solo's like, you know what, there's all this money on blah 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 planet. Well, it happens to be the Doom World that Luke was sent to defend a base that's completely a water planet. And there's pirates on it. And right now Luke is trying to save R2-D2 and C-3PO from becoming scrap metal and Luke being murdered by these pirates. And they're helping them fix their boats and stuff. It's really fun. It's meant for kids, but it's just really a fun read. It's not like the new Marvel stuff that's just poopy trash, for lack of a better term. You know, it's something I'd line my garbage can with. You know. Okay, let's get back to the questions, Dylan. Dylan, read.
Frank Miller says, or Frank Miller's Evil Hat. What my question is, what are the best '90s Star Wars novels? XD, whatever that means.
That's an emoji. Don't worry about it.
I was trying to be funny.
You aren't funny, except for your terrible hairpiece.
Right.
Anyway, the Thrawn trilogy.
That's too obvious, though.
And the Hand of Thrawn trilogy. Jedi Academy trilogy.
Well, it's kind of hard with the '90s because the Jedi Academy trilogy, a lot of people like it, but a lot of people don't like Anderson's writing. It's kind of the same way with a lot of the Bantam books, where it's hit or miss. Either not kind of the Timothy Zahn's books, either people love it or people hate it. Except for, of course, Planet of Twilight and Crystal Star, which I think everyone hates and like 2 people love. But the ones other than the Thrawn trilogy and the Thrawn books are what Dark Snowy is reading right now, the X-Wing novels. They are fantastic.
I would say Truce of Bakura and Shadows of the Empire are some excellent reads.
Definitely Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire is probably like one of the greatest reads.
Someone got a Facebook message, by the way.
Who got a Facebook message?
That was me.
Oh.
Sorry, guys.
Because I was going to say, mine doesn't sound like that normally. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any more.
What else was in the '90s? It
Black
was basically just Bantam era stuff. So.
Yeah.
It was only bad. Actually, 1999 we got Del Rey stuff.
Oh, so
comes out,
if you're counting '99, Vector Prime's really good, but that's kind of.
and the Phantom Menace novelization.
Right.
The
And I
Dark
think
Horse
the
started
first.
in the Dark Horse started in the comics the 90s?
Yeah, Tales of the Jedi came out in the late 90s. The Dark Empire trilogy. I think Crimson Empire 1.
What was
X-Wing Rogue Squadron.
Tales of the Jedi was their second. It was Dark Empire, Tales of the Jedi, then Crimson Empire.
Yeah, that sounds right. Of course, the Dark Forces trilogy. We can't forget that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Which is a Dark Horse did novelizations, which they weren't allowed to do, of the Dark Forces games, and they had artists come in and do these beautiful paintings in the books, but they're literally graphic novels. They're novels, and they got pictures of them. It's really.
But
really
do they move?
Good art. It's all right storytelling. William C. Ditz does an all right job with the video game adaptation. Let's look here. What are we got from the 90s? I can't think of anything. X-Wing Rogue Squadron, but I've already said that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to comics,
The comics, the
young
books.
adult novels, Young Jedi Knights is really good.
They're definitely kids' books, though, but yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, well, there's Jim J. Anderson again.
I mean, yeah.
It was I like the 90s because it was like the mystical era of Star Wars. There was so much Sith magics and stuff that they got
Right.
away from after Jedi Order.
But I would say that while they're good and fun, it gets a lot more rewarding as you continue because the old plots start actually mattering, and then things build off of each other. And it kind of goes against what we said earlier, that the novels are standalone. They pretty much are. You can pick up the first book of anywhere in the timeline, and they'll do a good job of explaining what's going on. But if you've had the backstory, if you've already read the backstory to it, it makes your experience a lot better. In fact,
Oh, go on.
I would almost say that if you're going to read the novels out of order, like start like in Fate of the Jedi, if you're that crazy enough, after you read the other stuff, I would reread the series just so you can go through and see all the little references and stuff that you missed, all the people that you were like, hey, I know that. Oh, that was from him because.
Yeah, like for instance, I'll use this as an example, Darth Plagueis, because readers reading. It's a good book on its own. It's an even better book when you've read, say, the Darth Maul 4-issue miniseries that came out in...
Like the comic?
Yeah, the comic is
Okay.
referenced in there where he takes on Black Sun. That's it's a mild spoiler. I don't know if you've gone to when Darth Maul shows up in the book yet or not.
No, not yet, but that's okay. That's fine.
They talk about the Dathomir witches in there briefly. There's references to Book of Deception, which is also it's another James Luceno book. There's a reference to the Star Wars Bounty Hunter video game because the Bandal Gora are loosely referenced in there. Everything that was in that sort of era in Star Wars is referenced in Darth Plagueis.
Really?
Except for Maul Rockwell, it was written afterward, but then that references Darth Plagueis. In the,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like I read a lot of '90s like Excalibur and X-Men and X-Factor and stuff like that. And at the time they came out, there's a lot of references about like movies or stuff that was happening at the time. And if you read it now, you might not remember some of it because you don't get like the joke.
yeah.
If you were around back then when they came out, you'll know what they're talking about.
Well, that's what's kind of cool about the EU is that there's so much stuff that's connected in other media, like video games and like board games and like role-playing games, whatever.
Mhm.
Comics. It's just there's a lot. It can be overwhelming too. Like if you're new. And
Yeah.
It can be a little overwhelming because of stuff like what you just were talking about, Jeremy, like the referencing from different places.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend starting with Star Wars Union, the comic.
Because that's just all cameos and references.
That is. And even with I like to think I have a semi-decent idea, knowledge of that era of the EU. I was confused as to who was who. Like, you get people from Jedi Academy, Rogue Squadron. What, Dark Snowy? Why are you talking over me?
That comic is the bane of my existence. I cannot get it in my collection because it's so damn expensive on eBay and Amazon.
Oh, yeah, I paid a little bit for that. And I wish I got it in hardcover because my paperback's so thrash, the one I bought. But I got Jedi vs. Sith in hardcover, one of the 30th anniversary hardcovers. I don't know if any of you remember that.
Oh, Jedi vs. Sith, another
That came out in the early 2000s.
early 2000s? Oh, okay. I thought it was the late 90s. Okay.
No. I remember when that came out in Star Wars Insider. And I'm like, Jedi versus Sith, this looks like a kid's book. And then I actually read it and realized it was a pile of trash.
And it was not a kid's book.
It's
I
not a
noticed
kid's book.
too.
It has
It
really
has-
friendly art. Like, it reminds me of The Runaways. I don't know if any of you read
Yeah.
that from Marvel. It reminds me a lot of that.
I mean,
It
like,
has- To be fair, it has kids in it. It's just not a kid's book.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, kids losing limbs everywhere. Children on the battlefield for no reason.
Children who are literally drafted to be on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Brutal.
And I'm like, why are the Jedi functioning like this?
Well, I mean,
So-
they kind of had to, but at the same time, it was like, I get why the Rusan reformations happened.
Well, you read Path of Destruction, reader, right?
Yep.
It's the end of Path of Destruction, only from the Jedi's perspective.
Oh, okay.
And this was written a long time before Path of Destruction came out. And it's just a complete mess, because the only thing out about Darth Bane at that time
Mm-hmm.
was Kevin J. Anderson's short story in the Star Wars Gamer,
Okay.
And basically, George Lucas's notes on Darth Bane.
because he's a Lucas character, believe it or not.
He is?
Yes, George Lucas came up with them, along with Plagueis and a whole bunch of the Sith.
Right.
In fact, he just came up with them just for not reference in the Phantom Menace, I think, and he didn't use them. But he told Terry Brooks about all of this when he wrote the Phantom Menace. And
Okay.
yeah, it's certain characters are actually George Lucas characters,
Wow.
even though they never show up. Well, I mean, Quinlan Voss, you can technically say is a George Lucas character because he's in one frame of the Phantom Menace. But I don't know. You could debate that because I don't remember when his storyline came out in the Republic comics. It could have been slightly before Episode 1 came out.
So, like, what do you guys think about that whole conspiracy rumor thing about Snoke and Plagueis?
That's someone who's die-curious. It really is.
Well, no, because Plagueis is technically canon because he's mentioned in Revenge of the Sith.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Darth Bane's technically canon too because he's in Filoni's Clone Wars.
Hmm. And his apprentice, but
But she's not called
Darth
Darth.
Donna isn't canon because Darth Bane just said that I had apprentice. So there's a human female who was his apprentice. That's canon. But the fact that Darth Donna, that's not canon. That's how the new canon works.
That's confusing.
So aggravating. And then they have mechs and blimps in the new canon because they're lazy, and then everyone thinks that's the greatest story ever written because Charles Soule wrote it, and it's terrible.
Well, it's the greatest story ever written when you're going against such heavy hitters like Chuck Wendig and Kevin Hearn and
Any of the other Marvel comics.
yeah.
Good writers not allowed to write well. That's the Marvel way now. That really is. In all honesty, their editorial just needs to be fired.
Yeah, well, because there's all the characters that are like, they've been around for a long time.
I dodged a bullet.
Dark Snowy, you like to throw that in my face whenever I say I suffered through something. Like, well, I didn't read that.
I actually have standards.
Oh, you know what, Dylan? Go away. Take your terrible toupee and just leave.
And my terrible lighting that I had to move my
your
lamp
lighting
over.
Atrocious tonight.
I had to
don't
move
know
my
how
lamp over to try to help it out, but I just realized it just made it worse.
It looks like
What
I'm
about the stories in the stories in the video games? Are they important to the stories in the novels, and do they tie in anyway?
Okay, this is how a video game works. It was secondary canon, which means the events in the video game happened, but not the way you played them.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, there's a light side and dark side ending with most games. Like Force Unleashed, the dark side ending is you kill Darth Vader. Of course, that didn't happen in Force Unleashed. That couldn't happen because it happened before the original trilogy.
Yeah, they have to stick around.
That
Stark
or
didn't do all of the crazy crap that he did in the game. Yeah.
other
like-
examples are like in Knights of the Old Republic. In the first game, you can make Revan, who, spoiler alert, is the protagonist. You can make him a female, but obviously in universe, Revan's a male. And then the second game, you could make the Exile a male when really she was a female. Other things like that, and then decisions you can make throughout the game, even as much as like who you have in your party at different times in the game. I mean,
Gonna change the story.
for certain events, because you can have completely different characters than actually. There's only one way that things could have happened. So when you play the game, there is a way that you can get the complete canon playthrough of it, or as complete as possible. But the way that the game works and the way you can play it, you most likely do something that contradicts the canon. So that's why they have the S canon.
Yeah, they give you options so the game will be
Right.
so the game won't get repetitive if you play it again or whatever.
Right.
That's cool. What about which one do you guys think is better? The Star Wars that are shooting games, or the ones where you use the lightsabers?
Oh god damn.
Because the lightsaber ones were always kind of weird to work. They had.
Shooting games. I'm a fan of the first Dark Forces game before they created lightsaber combat, which is the most awkward thing in those games.
I like
Yeah.
more.
Bill's nodding and agreeing.
Yes, I can't stand first-person lightsaber combat.
And that's what I was talking about. The lightsaber, it really took until, in my opinion, it took until The Force Unleashed to kind of get it passable.
Well, Battlefront 2 wasn't bad.
Right, but it was a lot of button mashing, which Force Unleashed was kind of button mashing too.
But Force Unleashed is a beat 'em up, really, if you think about it.
Yeah,
That's
that's exactly what it is. It's a double dragon.
Whereas Dark Forces was supposed to be a Doom clone. In fact, it's the same company, or some of the people that made Doom and Quake made Dark Forces. I think it uses the Quake engine, if I'm not mistaken.
But I mean, I remember playing the Clone Wars video game, and anytime you're on foot in that game is just.
God, it's horrible.
Oh
You
my
remember,
god! It's just like, put me back in a tank, please.
Rogue Squadron 3, the ground missions.
I did not. I didn't play that game.
Oh, that is the you talk about clunky. That felt really tacked on at the end.
Actually, no. I'm gonna amend that. I think the first time they got it right was the Lego Star Wars games.
Yeah. Okay.
Those were fun.
Those are super fun.
I really wish they would have made one involving the EU.
Oh, that was. I made a character Mara Jade in that game.
I did too.
Oh no, we lost Reader. Show sponsor Comcast.
Oh,
Providing us
crap.
with really expensive, shitty internet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, we lost our only woman.
Speaking of Lego Star Wars games, apparently if you pre-order, this is kind of old news now, but if you pre-order the Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, then you got an Empire Strikes Back skin pack or something, or a character
I
thing.
got some DLC missions. That's what killed Lego games for me. Was the DLC for Lego games, because Lego games are meant for kids. I'm not wrong there.
No.
They're fun. They're all ages fun games. You know what's not meant for kids? DLC.
Yeah, it depends on how
Most
much
little
buying
kids
and
can't
add-on.
even comprehend that the game that DLC even exists unless it's an amiibo, which they can chew on while they play their game.
Or Dimensions, which is just taking it way too far, in my opinion.
That is cringeworthy. Watch the Dose of Buckley's video on all that. He shares my points. Although I have thought about making a Camrance about amiibos.
Do it.
If you guys
Don't get me
don't know
started
what
on
we're talking about,
amiibos.
Basically, Amiibos and Lego Dimensions and Disney Infinity, if you know what that, it's basically a concept of, and you buy a game and then you buy all the characters, and the character is this little plastic toy thing that you put on like a platform, and then the platform you can play the game. And Dimensions takes it even further in having levels that come with it. So you have to buy the individual levels, which come with these little plastic things or little Lego sets in order to play the game. And it's gotten to the point where in the new Lego Dimensions game, I mean, if you played the first Lego Star Wars games they ever did, there were, it had episode 1, 2, and 3, 6 missions, and then a bonus mission, which was an episode 4 mission.
It was sort of, it was the beta for the first mission in Lego Star Wars 2.
Right. It was pretty much, in order to unlock that, by the way, was close to like 12, 15 hours of gameplay. I would imagine.
All the money in the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind getting a Lego Star Wars type of game, but where they're not Lego, where like it's better graphics, or where that type of gameplay. That's always entertaining, like puzzle solving.
Yeah.
Always that variety.
I'll never forget when Lego Star Wars 2 came up with punching.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh yes.
That was something I didn't think was missing, and then when I played Lego Star Wars 1 again after playing 2, I'm like, it's missing.
I know.
Work
It
without
makes the blaster characters actually good. But the thing is, that's at least like 12. If you're really good, you could probably do it in 10, but that 8 to 10 hours. But 8 to 12 hours of gameplay in order to get through that game. And when you play the Lego Dimensions, the retail is just like any other game. You get 1 mission and 3 characters, which Bedosa Buckley says this, but there's playthroughs on YouTube where people go through it in like 30 minutes. And they're pretty much done. Maybe like another 30 minutes to an hour to quote-unquote perfect the game, but you're paying full price for something you can finish in 2 hours. But you have to get more Lego. In order to get more levels for more game, to play it longer, you have to pay even more to get the more levels and the more characters. But this is getting extremely off topic.
That's the point of the podcast.
I mean, we're kind of still talking about Star Wars. We're referencing the original Lego Star Wars games.
If we want to get back on the topic, Frank Morris has another comment.
Okay.
Bill's not going to read it, too, because he's too asleep right now.
Yes, I am. I'm getting quite tired.
Bill, the Xanax abuser of this podcast.
One thing I think they need to do is speed up the new EU process so they can move on. I'm tired of them waiting to see what they will do. It feels like the new EU has no solid foundation.
Well, I have a theory on this. It's not everyone. They're not allowed to speed this up at all. You're not allowed to write about Luke after a certain point. I think Claudia Gray probably got slapped across the face for even mentioning Ben Solo's training with Luke Skywalker in New Republic Bloodline. Should probably get banned from writing Star Wars after that. But like that's the only mention. That's like the latest mention of Luke. This new EU they have, and it's like oh yeah, Luke's training my son right now, and I don't get to see him anymore. That's it. That's it. But there's like certain things you can't write about. You can't write before episode 1, I guess. I don't know. It's terrible. It's tedious. I wonder if this is what casuals felt like when the original EU was coming out and with the Zahn books.
Yeah, you think when the new Marvel came out, if you didn't know all this stuff about the old Marvels, about the old Star Wars, you think you would have enjoyed it more?
No. The new Marvel stuff is just so badly written in general. It's just really dumb. Reader gave up on it a lot sooner than I did.
Yeah, I did. I couldn't. I was enjoying the novels, like the EU novels more, and I was just like, I'd rather go back and read the Dark Horse stuff, and this is like, fuck this.
Okay.
It only took me a month to give up on a new canon.
Jordan, there's no need to gloat here. All right. All right. Reader, I got a question for you. Wonder aficionado.
I think you're giving me too much credit, Jeremy.
You're the reason I even read Wonder Woman. So.
Oh. Well, I'm happy for that. So that's awesome.
Your opinion on the new Wonder Woman series? Go.
Love it. Love it. Redemption.
Is it as good as the George Perez stuff?
No. George Perez is probably, I mean, his run was gold, I think, in terms of Wonder Woman. He just did everything right. And it was the right time. But I think what they're doing now, considering the New 52 is a big fat mess, I think what they're doing now with Rebirth in general is a good positive direction, and where they're taking Wonder Woman is definitely in the right direction.
What other Rebirth did you read, Peter?
Flash and Detective Comics. And what's that?
Batman or Aquaman, you didn't read those?
Batman, you know what? I don't even know if I'm going to stick with Batman because it just, everyone's saying that Tom King's a really good writer, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because he did a good job apparently on Vision, but I don't know. It's just not doing anything for me.
It's so weak. It's so weak.
It is. I know, but it just, you know, it didn't grab you. It should have been more than what it is.
You didn't feel like Batman was going to die in the plane?
So that was the best part. That was awesome. I will say him straddling the plane and like controlling it was pretty intense. But when Gotham Man and Gotham Girl showed up, that was like, what the hell am I looking at?
Yeah, exactly.
Thing during the whole Bloom story arc that Scott Snyder did. I was like,
I want to see like a few more issues to see what was going to happen. But I thought the whole issue was like a lot of tension. Like, oh, it's supposed to be building up tension. Like, what's going to happen? Can he stop the plane? But he's just like a regular human trying to stop a plane, you know, with a human with no powers.
I don't know. I felt it was kind of meh. I think out of everything that's come out, I think to me that's the weakest book.
Yeah, I liked Aquaman. I thought Aquaman was good.
Aquaman was pretty awesome. I think Action was the best last week by far.
A lot of people are loving Superman right now.
Yeah, it's
Superman was good too.
Superman I've always wanted. And New 52 failed for like the last 5 years trying to bring that out.
Yep.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, him fighting Doomsday for a whole issue, that was pretty awesome.
New 52 was just a hot mess.
But the thing was, it started off, a lot of it was trash. I mean, can we talk about Stormwatch here and how shitty that was? No one likes to remember that happened. It was so bad. But, like, Batman was really good, that whole Owls story arc, that lasted a year. Nightwing was fantastic. Batgirl, of course, you know, Gail Simone. My homie.
I didn't know you were a fan.
Oh yeah, I love Batgirl.
Are you going to be reading it in the Rebirth?
I don't know, because I hated when Gail Simone left the book and the tonal change. I was very upset.
I liked it at first, and then I couldn't, after a while, I was like, this is going completely wrong.
Well, it wasn't the Barbara Gordon that had been established. And I'm all about that continuity, even though DC decided after Convergence to throw that out the window and just made everything a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I assume so. I'll pick up the Rebirth one-shot. That's what I'm going to do. That's how I test everything out. Pick up the Rebirth one-shot, and if I like it, I get issue 1. Although, I will say the exception to that was Green Arrow. I hated the Rebirth one-shot, but loved issue 1.
Really?
I thought, well, because it was so over-the-top political, and I don't want politics in my comics. If it's subtle, it's fine, but when he called himself a social justice warrior, I was like, really? Come on.
Yeah, that was probably a little bit too much.
I get that he's for that, but have it more subtle. That's just bad writing right there.
Yeah, the writing should tell you that he's for that. He shouldn't have to state it as a character himself.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to point it out.
You know, that's why the Mike Grell run to me for Green Arrow is like amazing.
But I've never read Green Arrow.
That run came out like, you know, at the same time as where, you know, DC took everything dark, even Marvel with like Daredevil and Batman and everything. And no one ever really talks about Longbow Hunters, which was just originally like a mini-series, and then, you know, that's what spawned the Mike Grell's run on the series, period. And it's very gritty and it's very violent, and some nasty things happen in that book, but nobody really ever talks about it.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that there's those certain runs that no one talks about, but they're really good?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one talks about Garth Ennis' Punisher Max run. They talk about his Marvel Knights Punisher run, but they never really talk about the Max run.
It was better.
Yeah, it was like, let's let Garth Ennis go off the rails. You'll put the graphic in your graphic novel.
I think they don't talk about that one as much. They don't praise it as much because it's not part of continuity.
But it's so much better than Punisher. Continuity Punisher is so boring.
Yeah, you want stuff when it's out of continuity. They're usually better because they let you be more creative and, you know, they don't tie your hands.
You know, the thing about Punisher, he's a character that kills people. That's his character. He murders the bad guy. He murders him pretty bad. Or her. Pretty goddamn bad. But in Marvel continuity, I remember this in the Nathan Edmondson Punisher run from last year, which is trash. He fought Electro, and he didn't kill Electro. Same with Rucka's run. He fought Vulture, and didn't kill Vulture.
He's fought quite a few people and haven't killed him. He's fought Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, I get not
Yeah,
killing
when it's in canon,
but
when it's in canon, he can't kill those characters because they gotta use them for later stories.
I know, but that's, you see, here's where Punisher was good in Marvel continuity. Okay, Civil War's happening. He's running out of ammo, and there's nothing going on. He's out of resources. And Stiltman comes, because Stiltman hasn't been used in like 2 decades. And Stiltman's like, I'm a superhero now, and then he blows his brains out with a shotgun.
Yeah,
that is Punisher being used correctly.
Yeah, did you see him?
Didn't he also like kill a couple heroes when they showed up to Captain America's Secret Avengers or something? Or like former bad guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he got his head when they used him that way. Like, did you guys see Daredevil where he came out and he just shot on the show? Punisher came out and he just shot like this guy that was laying on the floor with a shotgun in the face, and they show like the whole face blow up.
Yeah, it's just Punisher Max. They just let Garth Ennis do what he does best, which is the most brutal things humanly possible. I mean, it was not crossed, where I'm pretty sure that it's on a government list if you buy crossed. Be on this watch list.
Have you read Daredevil Max?
I have not read Daredevil Max. I read Black Widow Max.
No, to read Daredevil Max. The Max storylines are good because, how you said, they let characters they could do whatever they want with them and it doesn't affect continuity. Read it. I don't like that much the regular Daredevil runs. It's like it tries too hard to be funny, so read that one.
I don't know. I've read Black Widow Max. I've read Alias Max, which is the other big one. We all remember that lovely butt sex scene in there. Which I never thought I'd read in a comic. Bill looks like he's going to pass out. Yeah.
Almost.
Bill, Stop taking the Xanax. Not good for you. It's not good for you. It's why you have all that gray skin. God damn. But yeah, we're running out of steam here. This podcast is slowly snowballing.
Oh, thank God.
Shut up, Ellen.
No, sorry. I was just while you guys were talking about comic other Rebirth comics. I have no idea. I was finally getting a chance to actually look at the new Liberty expansion pack, and there are no Rebels characters in this one. That was close.
Can you scream yourself?
That was close, because my one problem with the Imperial Interdiction one they released yesterday is all three Criffing officer cards are from Rebels.
Dylan, just cross-pollinate the cannons. That's what they want you to do.
I'm going to buy this game. I'm going to buy this expansion, and I'm going to take those three cards and just burn them. Because
No, just make your own characters out of them.
no,
Dylan,
No.
why are you being not imaginative?
no, I can't
I'm
use those
Dylan,
characters.
I don't like things that don't go my way. That sounded more like Edward there, but like he always says, it's good to weed when you're angry at it. So,
Twistin.
God,
So Jeremy, when
witnessed that awfulness. Go check out Jango Fett's channel. Star Wars Reviewers Hangout number, 3?
I guess so.
5?
I think it was 3, yeah.
Yeah, where Edward dressed like the Unabomber. Oh yeah, you didn't even see the pre-show with trying to get him on there to actually speak. It was a lot of coaxing, me being irritated. Although I did come up with the Edward drinking game after that, which I will not explain on here because several people will die from alcohol. J-Rox, what are you doing?
Checking on my Twitter real quick. I got some messages.
It sounded like you were crunching a plastic bottle.
Nah, it's buttons on the laptop.
Oh, so
It sound like this.
Jesus! All right, this show's over.
Wait, we need to answer the questions from last week.
Oh, we didn't answer. Dylan, why are you dropping the ball here? Fucking
I was the one that said we should answer
crunching
the
water
before we
bottles
answer
and
the question.
Bill's falling asleep.
Yes.
Bill, you can go.
No, Bill can't go.
No, Bill can't go. He's got to be up for work for 4 hours, but he can't go. He's got to listen to the questions from last week.
I gotta get it in.
All right.
Actually, Bill can go because I know Dark Stelvia's question is going to take an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So
I
getting
am going
into-
to-
So getting into Dark Snovia's 53-part question, I've seen honestly, Dark Snovia, no offense, I have seen posts from Darth Harasser which are shorter than your questions. Let me just say that right now.
I don't need the subterfuge anymore.
Anyway, Jeremy, if you hated the new canon so much,
Sorry
why'd
if it's
you
a
wish it
short
so long?
story, but that's how I roll.
Are you a masochist?
Why am I a masochist? Because it's a burden to be wonderful like me. All right, next question.
How badass do you think it would be if Star Wars Expanded Universe fighting game in the style of Soul Calibur? Would you play that kind of game?
Yeah.
They made one.
I'd play I'd even play a sequel to the one fighting game we had, which I can't even remember the name of.
Yeah, but that one was really bad. I think it's that Star Wars fighting game in PlayStation 1.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Oh no, it's not.
It's
Compared to- you had Marvel. You had Marvel versus Capcom. You had Mortal Kombat. Then you had that garbage.
I mean, I think in all honesty, my favorite fighting game is actually Shaq Fu.
Oh,
Really?
That's awesome.
It's such a wonderful game. Never have I known a game where you can actually speed up the combat so it's like you're both walking on soap, wet soap, and sliding around. That game is a fucking gem and should be put in a museum. Shaq
fighting game is Marvel vs. Capcom Part 2.
It's not as good as Shaq Fu. Not as good as Shaq Fu. Shaq Fu's the best. It's like one of those great gems.
That'd be I would love a Soul Calibur Star Wars game. That'd be awesome.
Oh, which one?
I mean, Star Wars was in Soul Calibur 4, technically.
Oh,
I refer to a whole roster of characters of Star Wars.
Okay, yeah. I'd be game for that.
What company would you like to see make that?
Not DICE or EA? Or LG?
What about Namco Bandai?
Bandai? What about, have you guys heard of Killer Instinct? That video game, it's a fighting video game. It's made by Rare. I wouldn't mind seeing them make a Star Wars fighting game.
I don't trust Rare anymore after were they the ones who made Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts?
Yeah.
Oh no, that game is blasphemy.
You've ruined your name.
Yeah, they got a fighting game, though. It's pretty good. So I wouldn't mind seeing the fighting system they use. I wouldn't mind seeing that system on Star Wars with Star Wars characters, but the same game.
You know, it is what it is. All right, next question.
Let's see. How would you feel if they put Rey and Kylo Ren in the original expanded universe if it was continued? Would you be okay with it? No, I would
I
not.
explained the only way this would be good. I explained it. Other space, Jaina sees like a reflection and it's Rey. It's a glimpse. And then nothing more.
No.
That's the only way I'd be okay with that.
No, I'm with yeah, no.
Of course you are. Of course you are. It's all about shit on Jeremy, you know. Jeremy's human garbage. He's the honky devil. See, you're so boring. Bill's falling asleep, Dylan.
My final question is, what is the worst Star Wars game you ever played?
Oh, God.
This is actually a tough one, because I don't know if I played a bad Star Wars game.
I have. Played a couple. Any of the Dave Filoni Clone Wars games, those were really bad.
Oh, okay, yeah. Lego, yeah.
Those
How
were
bad are they?
Star Wars Connect might be the worst. That was relatively awful.
What about favorite Star Wars game?
Favorite?
Like top 3.
J-Rocks, that's a whole topic for another podcast.
Battlefront 2. It's an easy question.
It's not an easy question for me, Bill. There's like 5.
Okay, Bill, well, back up.
Actually,
What's wrong with Battlefront 2?
Star Wars Jedi Starfighter's pretty awful.
No, he asked what was the favorite.
Oh, okay.
Bill, go to bed.
Well, what's
is
there, like
hard
one
to
question left?
Bad.
Battlefront? I like Battlefront. It was good.
I like Battlefront 2. I like all the Battlefronts. Yeah, I'd have to go with Star Wars Connect as worst. Because that didn't even try to hide it was a cash grab. Do you remember it had the R2-D2 360 and C-3PO skin Connect? It was just so cash grabby. It was cringeworthy.
Okay, and then there's another 800-part question from Dark Acolyte 22, who also had the topic discussion, but skipping over the topic discussions, is I'm pretty sure we're going to go through all those
Yeah, those
on one of the next one.
Shows.
Would you rather Lego make a Centerpoint Station or the Watchtower?
Watchtower.
Centerpoint Station.
Centerpoint.
I mean, it would have to be a UCS
Centerpoint.
Centerpoint Station. But
I'm glad I'm in the minority here. Why can't we have both? Is both an answer?
no.
Shut up, Dylan.
This next one is an easy question. Do you prefer Dooku's Dark Acolytes or the Darth Krayt's One Sith?
Darth Krayt's one Sith. By far.
Yeah.
I like his
Yeah.
Dooku's Sith acolytes though. They were cool. But Darth Krayt's one Sith, whole Sith Empire thing was really interesting. It was the best part of that series. Anything else, Dylan?
I think that's it. Yeah.
All right.
Other than the questions we answered last time.
The show's ending, people. Thank you for watching. Oh, before we leave, if you're a member of Star Wars Reviewers and you haven't voted on my poll to say what I read next, do that. The poll ends in 2 days.
And then one more thing I'd like to ask. We do two different types of podcasts. The ones like when we did the Rise and Fall of Dark Horse, or the collecting one when we actually have a topic, or the ones like this when we just kind of talk about nothing and then hang around for like an hour. Which do you guys prefer? Just so we know what to do more often. We'll do it. We'll try to do it at least. We'll try to vary it up as well. But I don't know. I'm just curious to see what you guys like more. All 6 of you who are watching this.
They're up to 9 at one point.
Wow.
Thanks for watching.
All right, everyone. Show's over. Go to bed, Bill. Good night, everyone.